Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Jack, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's good to meet you too.
I appreciate your time today. You probably have a busy weekend here at the 30A Songwriters Festival.
Yeah, fairly so. I think I'm playing every day. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you fitting me in. I guess.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No, it's an honor. I came to know who you were through two people. Okay. One, I think you know. The other one might be a little bit of a surprise. But I talked to Lindi Ortega. Mm-hmm. At Americana Fest, and I think you guys did some songs at some point last year in 2024, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We
recorded some songs, yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then when I was researching her, I was like, okay, who's Jack Barksdale? And then I was like, oh my gosh, really interesting story. So I was like, okay, I need to meet him at some point. So that's worked out from that standpoint.
Yeah.
And then you live and are from the Fort Worth area, is that right?
Yeah, Fort Worth, Texas.
So I talked to, I don't know if you know him, but I talked to a really cool guy, Jacob Furr.
Oh, yeah, I love Jacob. Yeah,
he's like one of the best guys, right?
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we've become really good friends, and so separately, I don't know, he's like, at some point you need to talk to Jack, you know? And so I let him know I'm coming, and he's like, tell him I said hey. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob's awesome. He's a fantastic songwriter, musician. He's Fort Worth's got a pretty cool music scene, and he's definitely one of the cool features of it.
Yeah, well, it's a great segue. I appreciate that. So when I talked to him, he was on this before I was doing the video. I talked to him in March, and we went deep on Fort Worth music scene. I had, other than Towns Van Zandt, I really had no idea kind of what that has meant for you, kind of where you are. How has that community impacted you, and kind of what sticks out to you in terms of that influence and the culture there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool place. I mean, it doesn't have quite the roots that maybe like the Austin music scene has, but it's got a lot of really great people and a lot of really great artists there, and everyone's just really enthusiastic and supportive of each other, and I got a lot of friends there that I've co-written with and that have taught me a lot about music and songwriting. Mm-hmm. And it's just a really cool place. It helps a lot too that the city of Fort Worth is trying to facilitate that music scene and make sure that it can go on and bloom and right. do great things. And so I think here Fort Worth is the sector of Visit Fort Worth, where it focuses on the arts, and right. they do a lot of really great stuff with the music scene, and they help out a lot, and it's a really cool place.
Well, cool. Well, so a couple questions about that, just to kind of dig deeper. So I think you have a really good relationship with Guthrie Kenard, right?
Guthrie Kenard, yeah.
Yeah. I guess, how did that come about, and what are some of the sort of the lessons that he's taught you, whether it's about music or life? Because I think he has a sort of a similar journey as getting into the industry pretty young, right?
Yeah.
I guess, tell me about Guthrie and what he's meant to you.
Yeah, Guthrie's just a all-around really fantastic person, and really great musician and songwriter, and just all around pretty great.
Yeah.
But I met him in a place called the Greenwood Saloon in Bluffdale, Texas. And that was one of the first places that I ever played music. They have this really cool picker circle there on Sundays where anyone can come if they have a guitar or any instrument and just sing some songs. Everyone sits around in a circle and they take turns. And so that's how I found out about that place. And
that's cool.
It's a really cool place, and they kind of have a little mini music scene. I guess it's not super many, but different than like the Fort Worth music scene.
Yeah.
And so that's a really cool place. And my friend Ed Ogle invited me to open a show for him there. He runs the Picker Circle, and his guest for his show was Guthrie.
Oh, jeez.
And so that's where I met Guthrie. And Ed plays rhythm guitar mostly, has kind of a cool style that he plays, but he doesn't really play lead guitar. And Guthrie was like, Ed, can you play a lead guitar on this? And I think Ed said, just go ask Jack. And so I got my guitar and sat in with Guthrie and Ed for that set. And then Guthrie invited me to come and play with him at Fred's, which is another, it's a restaurant and venue in Fort Worth. And Guthrie played there every other Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And so I would, every other Sunday for, I don't know, 2-3 years, something like that, I went and played with Guthrie and played lead for him, and then he'd have me play songs, and it was super fun. And Guthrie, he played bass for a long time with a lot of really great blues players, and he learned lots of really cool things through those experiences and through, then doing his solo career. He's got a lot of really cool experiences. I remember he told me, one of the blues players that he used to play with told him, Guthrie, you shouldn't be trying to play my blues, you should be trying to play your blues. Oh. And so that's kind of a motto that he always keeps in his head, and I think that's good for anyone.
That's good advice, yeah, for sure.
To know, and so that's, Guthrie's very much, his style is his style, and it's, he can do all sorts of stuff, but it's very him, and so that's, I try to do the same thing. Is not try to, you take inspiration from all sorts of places, but then try to make it your own.
That's great. Well, I promise this conversation isn't going to focus on your age, but so that being said, you're 17, right?
I don't shy away from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, so I think for me, I have two questions, and then we'll move on. But so the blues and then music in general, right? I think I was talking to my previous guest here, Anna, and she's a little bit older than you, but she's still really young. We were talking about how some people sort of look down on youth or younger artists because they don't have enough life experiences to really sort of apply it to a good song, or heartbreak. It's like, okay, really, it was like a high school crush or whatever. But I think, for you, how do you look at? And I don't want to pigeonhole you into blues, but the blues and some of this heartfelt music as a 17-year-old. How do you sort of come up with the feelings, the words, etc., when you are still so young?
Mm-hmm. Well, I try not to be something that I'm not, and try to pretend that I know everything, or that I've full of wisdom and life experience. I just try to write about the things that I think about and the things that I know about, which means a lot of times I'm just writing about myself. But I just try not to fake anything, just write what I want to write about, and I guess that's pretty much it. I just try not to be anything that I'm not.
Right. So do you look forward to the day where guys like me don't lead with, hey, you're 17 or you're 16? Do you look forward to that time when it's like, okay, you're 37 and you're still making music, it's about whatever else, and you're like, okay, Jack, you're 37, but you were a 17-year-old prodigy? Or do you look forward to that not being a big part of the brand for you?
I don't know. I feel like musically, I never really, like, in the actual songs or anything, I never really, I just kind of write songs. It doesn't really matter. Of course, the person you are when you write a song kind of matters, but as far as the age, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And so it might be different in, I don't know, 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
The kind of things that I do, the kind of, interviews, the way people see me,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But
Right.
just because it's different doesn't necessarily mean that it's so much better or worse. And
Right.
so you can't really change what's happening now or what's going to, you can somewhat control the future, but
Right.
not always. And so I guess I'm just going to deal with things as they are when they're happening.
Okay.
And so I guess it might be nice in 10, 15 years
Yeah.
to not have to talk about it so much, but
Yeah.
it's really not that bad to
Yeah.
talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people who actually, I guess, get to talk about
Yeah, for
being
sure.
or know about being a teenager or a young person and doing this kind of stuff. So I guess it's kind of
Yeah.
an interesting thing.
Yeah. Good answer. And I'm glad you don't shy away from it, but it's kind of, it's like, man, this
It'd be
kid,
kinda
every
weird if I
interview,
did.
well, yeah, every interview you must do. It's like, okay, here's the question, blah, et cetera. So yeah, appreciate that. I
I
guess
guess I don't do that many interviews.
all right. Well, here we go. Glad you're here. So do you consider yourself more of a songwriter or a musician? And I think I don't know if you're still a podcaster, but you did a podcast for a while. So I'd love to get some tips on that, but it's like get to ask the questioner some questions here. But yeah, what do you consider yourself to be right now?
I guess as far as like the songwriter versus musician
Mhm.
thing, I really love songwriting, and I always have loved songwriting. Even when I was learning guitar, I was writing songs at the same time, and eventually was able to put the chords I was learning to the music I was writing, or to the lyrics I was writing. And so they've always kind of been one thing for me, because, I mean, if you're just writing a poem or a paragraph of something without the intention of music, you can be more free with things, and you can use different language, and it's different because it's a different medium, and it's a different way that people are going to experience those words. And so you do different things, but it's the same thing too with just doing instrumental music. Without lyrics, you can be more free, you can do more things, but there's also something really great about doing them together, because if you write both the lyrics and the music to work together in a certain way, then they can elevate each other, I think. And especially adding lyrics to music, I think, can be really cool with adding meaning to sound, and I think that's really cool.
Right.
Ultimately, I guess, like, the label of musician versus like songwriter is kind of arbitrary, and so I just exist
You
as
just
I
do your
am.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you think you are as an artist today, and then where do you want to be?
I would love to do some like headlining shows. I think that's kind of everybody's hope, in music, and be able to play the songs that I want to play and all that kind of stuff, for a wider audience. And as far as like people that I look up to career-wise, I mean, there's people like John Fulbright is at this festival, and I always really loved artistically how he makes music and writes lyrics, and I feel like he's one that does a really good job of writing them together, and where each elevates the other one. The music and the lyrics elevate each other, and he's really good at both. But then there's other people in music that I also really look up to, like Leonard Cohen, of course. I mean, he's just a fantastic writer and musician, and I mean, he wasn't always the most like sophisticated guitarist, but his, like, you listen to songs like Field Commander Cohen, and if you ever actually try to play along with that song, there's like 12, 13, 14 chords, and it changes keys like 3 times.
Jeez.
And it's completely transports you into a different world with the lyrics and the music. And it's kind of the difference between, amount of, like, how much you know on the guitar and how you know how to use what you already know, you know. And I think that's really great. And also just his career. Yeah. He kind of just did what he wanted to do and somehow was resilient, and it ended up working out for him. Most of the time, I think his manager stole a lot from him at some point, and he kind of had to start. I think he started touring again after that. Yeah. And I'm sure in the beginning it was hard for him, but there's people like that. Who's also he wrote several books, and he's a really great writer all around, and so there's people like that, and there's also people like Tom Waits, who just are the epitome of doing what you want to do and what you're seeing in your head, and kind of being out there, not necessarily saying that I want to start singing in a gravelly voice and writing songs about the seedy life and all that kind of stuff, but everyone can find their own version of what Tom Waits did, which is just finding out what you're really passionate about and what you like, and going full speed ahead with it. Okay. And so there's all those kind of things that I look up to. Okay. And Well, so back to Fort Worth. Growing up, so Townes Van Zandt obviously is a legend. Yeah. From that area. I just got a puppy. I named him Poncho. Oh, that's awesome. Based on Poncho and Lefty. I'm not getting a Lefty. Poncho's enough for me. But he's obviously a legend, not just in Fort Worth, but in music, right? I guess growing up though, like he's a cautionary tale, right? Of like, okay, that's the guy, songwriting, the mystique, everything. But there was the darker path, right? Than his challenges. And I know your parents are heavily involved with what you're doing. I guess looking to the rest of your life, how are you going to take guys like Townes and others that are amazing, but they also have whatever it was, addiction and things? How are you going to protect yourself from those temptations and those things? Do you think? Yeah, I think Townes was, of course, he's one of my favorite songwriters. He's fantastic, but I think in a lot of other ways he kind of had really unfortunate circumstances. And I think that his life could have gone completely other ways if he had been more fortunate in some early life circumstances and family and all that kind of stuff. But, ultimately, just try your best to control your future and the way you want to go. And I have a really great support system and all that. Yeah. And I just... I don't know. I'll try my hardest. Yeah, no, it's not good. To be another cautionary tale. Yeah, no, I think it's easy. It's easy to fall into that in being in the industry, touring, all the things. But I think you're right. I think like his childhood and so many people, their childhood. I was talking to another musician here this week, and he's written an album. It's basically born out of the complete dysfunction of his childhood. And he was raised by his grandparents and everything, but. Yeah, so the fact that I think you're aware is like a good thing, and your support system looks like it's amazing. Yeah. So, no, that's good. I guess in terms of music, you did the project with Lindi last year. You're on Guy Clark's label, which is relatively new. I think that was announced at Americana Fest. I guess what's the timing of the work that you've been working on, songs and anything like that, and what could we look forward to? Yeah, I'm on the Truly Handmade label, and I'm super excited about that. It's a really cool thing that Tamra and all the people with the Guy Clark estate and all of that are doing. And I'm really fortunate to be a part of it. And I've got a ton of new songs that I'm recording an album for the label at the end of this month.
Oh, cool.
And I think I'm going to release it around June. And yeah, I'm super excited. I've got a bunch of new songs.
Awesome.
And I've been whittling down the songs slowly. I'm going to be trying out some new ones here at the festival. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm doing the album with my friend Mike Meadows, who's producing it, who produced the songs with Lindi.
Yeah.
And he also produced my album, 2021 maybe, the Death of a Hummingbird album. And yeah.
Cool. Well, we're excited about that. So last question. I ask everybody this. It's kind of my shtick. I don't know if it's cheesy or not, but I think it's interesting. So I think curiosity is an underrated element in relationships, right? Family relationships. I'm in the corporate world. I actually have like a big day job, and I just do this as a passion project. But there's no curiosity in corporate America. Like it's really annoying. I think business would be better if people were just more curious about,
Yeah.
all sorts of things, right? Love relationships, whatever. I guess at this stage, again, I'll beat the horse. Beat the horse dead one more time. You're 17. What are you most curious about?
Well, all sorts of things.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be music. It could be
Yeah.
anything. I'm just curious what you're curious about.
I mean, especially with these new songs that I've been writing for this album, I've tried to pair my love of writing and songwriting with my fascination in things like physics and philosophy and stuff like that. Or like I may not be super knowledgeable on all these things, but I'm really curious about them and really interested about.
That's awesome.
Kind of just the world and the universe as a whole, and all that kind of stuff. It's really it was really eye-opening for me to start looking at the world through kind of the lens of kind of a scientific kind of way, and seeing things as they are, and knowing that sometimes I don't know is the answer, and doesn't always necessarily mean that there's no answer, and knowing that a lot of things are just arbitrary. I don't know, it's really kind of cool about looking at humans and the mind that way. It's I don't know, it's a really cool way of thinking about it, and so I'm always really curious about those kind of things.
Okay.
Philosophy and scientific thinking, and I don't know, it's a really cool area that I like.
Awesome. Well, I don't know much, but I know that your talent is not arbitrary. Right? Like that, it's very intentional, and there's a reason you're doing what you're doing. So, really appreciate your time. Would you mind playing some music?
Not at all. It sounds great.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was great to meet you too. I'm Jack Barksdale, and this is a song I wrote with my friend Billy Hartman, and it's called "The Willing Kind." Guess it's kind of about being a younger person and doing the kind of weird things that I do. Here it is. I know that I don't know half as much as I've got to say. Sometimes I think I can barely trust myself. These flaws claw through skin and bone, make themselves known. The truth seems to find a way tell itself. Time keeps on moving, and I'm moving too. A watchful mind filled with rhyme, looking after you. It's a fool's game, but it's a fool's world that we're all walking through. In the end, I think we'll find the willing kind are seldom true. We all wake, searching for paradise. It's a sacrifice that we've all gotta learn to make. We're all heading towards that great unknown. Anything goes. By and by the days they fly, and something's bound to break. Everyone's just guessing, and I guess I'm guessing too. Life's full of questions, so put on walking shoes. It's a fool's world, but it's the fool's game that we're all playing through. In the end, I think we'll find the willing kind are bound to lose. Cracks in your foundation grow bigger by the day. There's no time for reformation to get in your way. This world keeps on spinning, and I'm spinning too. When it's time, there'll be no sign for what you ought to do. Come what may, come what will, the end is coming soon. And now I fear that we will find the willing kind ain't nothing new. Bound to lose.